Vegan, because we are protectors of all beings.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
మా కార్యక్రమాలు అందజేస్తున్నాయి అనేక భాషలలో. దయచేసి చూడండి suprememastertv.com/schedule.
This warm, cheesy and scrumptious vegan lasagna dish is so delicious, you will find any excuse to dig into it. Classic Italian-American cuisine, part 2 of 2, vegan spinach lasagna. Watch on to find out more.
On this charming island of Guam, half a day is what the islanders use to greet each other, and is hello in Chamorro, one of the official languages in Guam. My name is Talina. The friendly people of scenic Guam appreciate your practice of love and compassion every day, starting with the vegan lifestyle. Last week, we had the pleasure of presenting Classic Italian-American Cuisine, Part 1 of 2, Detroit-style vegan pizza on our show. Today, we will show you another Italian-American cuisine, vegan spinach lasagna, in Part 2 of this show. The origin of lasagna goes back to ancient Greece, and the recipe made its way to Italy, and then to the United States with migrants. Chefs perfected the recipe until it became the amazing dish as we know it today. In America, the 29th of July is observed as National Lasagna Day to celebrate America's favorite Italian pasta dish. You can celebrate this day by making a vegan lasagna dish to enjoy with your family members, or host a vegan lasagna party for your neighbors and friends. Lasagna is such a popular comfort-baked pasta dish and is loved by millions around the world. Today, we are delighted to have Dave back on our show to share with us his version of a vegan spinach lasagna recipe. Enjoy the show.
Hi, my name is Dave, and today I'll be showing you how to make vegan spinach lasagna. First off, we're going to cook our stuffing, which is going to be the vegan ground round and the firm tofu. Let's turn on our stove. We're going to get that nice and hot. And then we're going to put in about 2 tablespoons of our extra virgin olive oil. We'll spread it all over around the pan. And once that gets nice and hot, we're going to put in all of our vegan ground round. We'll put it on a medium heat and just let it cook through. Okay, and then we're also going to be adding our seasoning, right? Which is going to be about a teaspoon of black pepper, about a teaspoon of salt, and about a tablespoon of this mushroom seasoning. And we're going to stir this all together, making sure all the ingredients and the spices are getting well incorporated into the vegan ground round. This will take about a couple minutes to start browning. Our vegan ground is starting to brown off a little bit. So for the firm tofu, we don't have to dry it off or anything because the moisture will dry up when we cook it. And we're just going to crumble it into our vegan ground round. All right, and once you finish crumbling your tofu, just make sure you stir it all up and stir it all together so that all the seasoning gets into the tofu also. We're trying to make the stuffing not too salty because the vegan cheese is really going to make up most of the salt content in our lasagna today. Just make sure you mix everything all up well together. As you can see, our tofu is starting to dry up. That means it's almost ready. Give it about another minute or two and it'll be all ready. We're just going to turn off our fire and we're going to put it into our bowl. Okay, and it's good to go. Now we're going to make our tomato basil sauce. All right, first off, we're going to get our high-powered blender and we'll put our peeled canned tomatoes all into our blender. All right, once you get your tomatoes in, next we're going to get our basil. Just take all the leaves and put it into the sauce. Okay, and that should be about enough basil. And then we're going to put in about 1 tablespoon of our extra virgin olive oil. And then we're going to put in about a teaspoon of our salt. And once it's all ready, we're just going to cap our blender and just start blending all the ingredients together until it's well incorporated. All right, now that it's all ready, it's all blended and well incorporated, we're going to just take it off and pour out our sauce. And there you have your tomato basil sauce. Now that we have all our ingredients ready, we're going to assemble our lasagna. So first off, we're going to start with our extra virgin olive oil, our 2 tablespoons. And we just want to spread all that oil around until it fully covers the bottom of the plate. That way the lasagna noodles don't stick to the bottom. And after we're finished with that, we're going to put our tomato basil sauce. It'll be enough to not entirely submerge the lasagna noodles, but it'll cover the entire side of the bottom of the lasagna. And then next, we're going to put our lasagna noodles. Since we're not cooking our lasagna noodles, you make sure you cover all of the lasagna noodles in the sauce. So the first layer is the easiest because you only have to pour enough sauce to cover the lasagna. Our bottom layer is probably going to use about 4 pieces because we have 3 vertical and then 1 horizontal. You have to snap off one of these pieces to fit from edge to edge of the lasagna pan. Okay? And again, remember to cover all of your lasagna pieces in the sauce so that it's not raw when you're finished baking it. All right, and then our second layer is going to be our spinach. Just cover every space you can until it covers up the tomato sauce. After we've covered our layer of spinach, then we'll be using our vegan ground round and the tofu stuffing. We're just going to spread it all around our vegan lasagna until every square inch of it is just covered in the stuffing. Next, we're going to be using our vegan mozzarella shreds, and we're just going to cover it all over our vegan ground round and tofu stuffing. A lot of the vegan cheeses tend to be quite salty, so if you're worried about sodium level, just reduce the amount of vegan cheese first. That's why we don't season our stuffing with too much salt, because we're adding quite a bit of vegan cheese. Then we just move on with a layer of pasta again, covered in tomato sauce. Okay, so we're just going to make sure we cover the entire lasagna noodles in tomato sauce so that it doesn't dry out during the baking process. Just make sure you cover both sides very well. When you cover all of the noodles with the sauce, the flavor just really soaks into the noodles and it tastes really amazing. And the second layer of lasagna noodles probably takes about 4 pieces just because the plate gets wider. Alright, and we have to snap off this small piece just to fit it into our lasagna pan. Just gonna cover that in sauce. Well, make sure to get all the little nooks and crannies so that the noodles don't dry out during the baking process. Then we're going to start on our second layer of stuffing. We're just going to cover that layer full of spinach. And next, we're going to be using our vegan ground round and tofu. And just pour all the rest of our stuffing onto that second layer. And just make sure you spread out all that stuffing so that each layer has an even amount of stuffing on there so that it bakes very evenly. Okay, and next we're going to be using our vegan mozzarella cheese. And just spread that all over. This vegan cheese is going to make the lasagna very nice and creamy and help retain some of the moisture in there. And then our final layer is just going to be our lasagna noodles with our tomato sauce. Just going to make sure we're covering all of our noodles with sauce so that it doesn't dry out during the baking process. Alright, well, this is going to be our last piece. We have to snap off this also so it just fits in our plate. Cover it in the sauce. So if you haven't yet, you should also preheat your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. It's all covered in sauce. And now we're just going to pour the rest of our vegan mozzarella shreds on here. We're just gonna get our foil here. Just wrap. Make sure you cover it so that during the baking process, all the steam cooks the noodles and all of our stuffings together. And then the vegan cheese is gonna melt really well and all the flavors are just gonna combine and it's gonna be a great dish. So we're gonna put this in the oven at 450 degrees for about 50 minutes. All right, now that our lasagna is all done, let's take it out the oven. It's nice and hot. Let's take a look at it. Ooh, it turned out very nice. Our vegan cheese is melted very well. There's a little bit of the crispy bits, that means you know it's well cooked. I'm gonna cut a large piece and serve it on the plate. There's our lasagna. I'm just gonna garnish it with some basil. And it's ready to go. All right, let's take a bite of this lasagna. It turned out very nicely. The vegan cheese melted very well, and all the stuffing is very well cooked. It was amazing. Cheers. I hope you enjoy this recipe.
Ingredients. For all ingredients, please use organic versions if available. For the vegan spinach lasagna, the ingredients are 14 pieces of lasagna noodles, 4.5 ounces or 128 grams of fresh spinach, 1.5 pounds or 600 grams of vegan shredded mozzarella cheese from Good Planet or other vegan food company, 2 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of extra virgin olive oil. Stuffing. 24 ounces or 680 grams of vegan ground round from Trader Joe's or other vegan food company. 1 pound or 453 grams of firm tofu. 2 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of extra virgin olive oil. 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of salt, 1 tablespoon or 15 grams of mushroom seasoning. Tomato basil sauce, 42 ounces or 1200 grams of canned peeled tomatoes, 1 tablespoon or 15 milliliters of extra virgin olive oil, 1 ounce or 28 grams of fresh basil leaves, 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of salt. Garnish, basil.
Amiable viewers, thank you for joining us on our show today, and we hope that Dave has inspired you to try this irresistible Italian-American vegan spinach lasagna recipe at home. Up next is Master's Good Affinity with Sentient Beings, Part 4 of 6, on Between Master and Disciples. We wish you endless divine blessings and happiness. Vegan, because we want to teach our children to be a noble person.
For free international vegan recipes and for language availability, please visit suprememastertv.com/VEG and suprememastertv.com/schedule.